Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
This is Captain Jason Nesbitt from the County of Grand Prairie Regional Fire Service, and you are listening to the SA Matters radio show with Dr. Richard Gasaway. The SA Matters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 99 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence environments. The SA Matters mission is simple, to help you see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes. I'm coming to you today from Howard County, Maryland, where I'm in town to deliver a program on situational awareness for the Howard County Department of Fire and Rescue Services and other departments throughout the region. In today's feature segment, we're going to discuss the challenges and consequences of distracted driving. My guest is a 30-year fire service veteran who lost his daughter in 2014 as a result of a distracted driving incident. He has created a program for teens and adults to educate them on the importance of the issue, and in my opinion, it's only going to get worse. But before we jump into the feature segment, I'd like to take a moment to thank the departments and organizations that have hosted recent Situational Awareness Matters tour stop events. Your efforts to bring this valuable and powerful training on situational awareness and high-risk, high-consequence decision-making to your members and members in your region are greatly appreciated. Recent tour stops have included the Addison Fire Department in Texas, the Los Angeles County Fire Department Fire Officers Conference, and of course where I am now in Howard County, Maryland for the program for the Howard County Fire Rescue Department. And by the time this episode airs, I will have completed programs for the Toms River Fire Department District No. 2 in New Jersey, and the Maryland Fire Rescue Institute's National Fire Service Staff and Command Program in Towson, Maryland. If you're interested in joining me for an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stop on March 18th, I'll be delivering the closing keynote for the Center for Public Safety Excellence Conference in Orlando, Florida. March 19th, a program for the Minnesota State Fire School in Alexandria, Minnesota. March 21 through 25, the Company Officer Development Institute program in Columbus, Indiana. March 22nd, a program for the Madison County LEPC in Anderson, Indiana. March 26th and 27th, another Company Officer Development Institute program, this time in Fort Wayne, Indiana. March 31 for the Community Fire Rescue Department in Houston, Texas. April 1 and 2, the Montgomery County Fire Chiefs Association in Texas. April 9, the Delaware Volunteer Firefighters Association in Dewey Beach, Delaware, a program on generational leadership. April 12, the Minnesota Department of Pipeline Safety Conference in Breezy Point, Minnesota. April 13th, the North Metro Fire Department in Broomfield, Colorado. April 14th, the Castle Rock Fire Department in Castle Rock, Colorado. April 19th, the Fire Department Instructors Conference in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'll be delivering a half-day pre-conference at the FDIC on Tuesday this year. April 20, the Texas A&M Forest Service program in San Antonio, Texas. April 23 and 24, the Fort Wayne Fire Department's Company Officer Development Institute, Part 2. April 30 and May 1, the Lebanon Fire District in Oregon. When I was delivering programs in southwest Minnesota last month, I stopped by and visited my sponsor, Midwest Fire, and got a chance to sit down and talk to a few of their employees about what separates Midwest Fire from their competitors. Here I got the chance to ask account executive Dalton Lingbeck about the types of apparatus that Midwest Fire builds. So let's listen in for a moment. Okay, Dalton, tankers and tanker pumpers. That seems to be the game for Midwest Fire. I see, even as I'm here at the factory, I see a number of tankers and tanker pumpers. But do you build anything else? What is it, are you basically just a 2-product company, or do you have other types of trucks that you're building for customers?
We do in fact build a lot of tankers and tanker pumpers. They are our bread and butter. We love building them, and they're a great product for us. But in fact, we do not only build tankers and tanker pumpers. We try and fill the whole department. So if anyone needs to replace their fleet, we can do it. We do a lot of roll pumpers. We're starting to do more and more of those. We don't really trend towards more of the major metropolitan cities with pumpers. We leave that up to the guys that have been doing it for a long time. We take care of our customer base, which are volunteer firefighters, rural firefighters, and we provide them with the rural pumpers. We also do quick attacks. We do a lot of rescue quick attacks, mini pumpers, not necessarily the PTO mini pumpers, but we do portable pumps on these things. So essentially it's a lot of rescue tools. It's on an F550. It's got a rescue style body, but we call them quick attacks. And then finally we do brush trucks. And brush trucks we love doing these because these things are one of the coolest trucks and coolest firefighting piece of equipment on the face of this earth. We've been doing a lot of those. We've started doing brush trucks around 2.5 years ago, and we have been building roughly 10 to 15 a year, and we're increasing that by the day. It's a really cool thing, and you'll be seeing a lot more Midwest Fire brush trucks in the future.
So if somebody wanted to see what these trucks look like, are there pictures on the website or a gallery, or is there someplace they can go to put their eyeballs on what we're talking about here?
Yeah, definitely. We have many areas where you can see the pictures. We have a Twitter account. We do a lot of delivery pictures and just pictures in general on our Facebook. That's a huge place for people to go see us. But the biggest part is our website. We do have a deliveries tab, and you can see all recent deliveries on our website from the day they were delivered all the way back to how many ever years ago.
Yeah, nice. So if you want to learn more about the types of apparatus that Midwest Fire is building, tankers, tanker pumpers, quick attack pumpers, brush trucks, rural apparatus, visit them at MidwestFire.com and see how they can help you. Thank you, Dalton. And thank you, Sarah Atchison, and all the staff at Midwest Fire for your awesome commitment to improving first responder safety. I sincerely appreciate your support of my mission. I should also note that Midwest Fire, along with Hail Pumps, sponsored 3 live tour event stops in northern Minnesota last month. Their generous support helped to give valuable message on firefighter safety to regions that might not otherwise be able to afford or host a tour stop. And it also allowed us to provide the attendees with a copy of my newest book, Situational Awareness Matters, Volume 3. So thank you for your support and commitment to safety. If you're interested in attending an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stop, head over to samatters.com and click on the blue box on the right side of the homepage labeled Upcoming Event Schedule. Here's hoping there will be a tour stop near you and we'll get a chance to meet up. More than 500 agencies on 4 continents have hosted a Situational Awareness Matters tour stop event. Has your agency? No? Please don't wait until you have a near miss or a casualty event. Be proactive and get your program scheduled. If you're interested in hosting a Situational Awareness Matters tour stop in 2016 for your department or association, just contact me through the samatters.com website by clicking on the Contact Us tab, and we'll get something set up for you. I should note that I've booked quite a few 2017 programs already, so if you're interested in booking something for 2017, now would be the time to secure your date. Here's a tip for how to host a program at a reduced cost. I schedule many what I call companion programs. These are programs on adjoining days to other programs. So if you see I'm delivering a program within a few hours of where your department is associated and you think that you might want to tag along as a companion, contact me. You can get as much as a 20% discount off the program cost by being a companion to an existing program. Okay, you may recall from the start of the show that this is episode 99. That means the next episode is going to be an awesome milestone as I reach episode 100. In the podcasting world, that's a really big deal. Very few podcasters have the tenacity to keep podcasting after just a few episodes. One of the reasons is so very few people give feedback, and the podcaster really never knows if what they're putting out there if anyone's listening or if anyone's getting any benefit from the show. So I'm trying to think about what to do for episode 100. Whether I should do kind of a walk down memory lane and talk about the highlights of the first 100 episodes, or just maybe advance a message on situational awareness, or maybe give away some books. Not really sure. I think I'm going to try to do something that's going to be unique and out of the ordinary. So you may want to tune in for episode 100, because if I do any giveaways, they'll be limited, and you'll want to make sure that you get whatever it is that is being given away. So I'm very excited about this episode 100. So be looking for something significant, because to me it's a really big deal. If you like the show, I'd like to hear from you. Go to samatters.com and click on the Contact Us link and send me some feedback. It really does inspire me to work harder. It really does. And I thank those who've taken time to send me emails or to post something on the social media feeds about the podcast. I really, really do appreciate it. Okay, let's jump into our feature segment with Greg Yost, talking about the challenges of distracted driving.
I joined the Hancock Fire Company way back in 1975. Been around a long time. Held most offices up including 2 terms as chief. Various other offices, including administrative presidents. I've pretty much done it all over the years. Seen a lot, being a rural volunteer fire department in little old Western Maryland. We've seen a lot of different activities. A C-130 crash, hazmats that closed down Interstate 70 for 24 hours or so, bad fires, downtown fires. We have a little bit of everything. So we've seen a lot, been through a lot, but it's a good, progressive, small, rural fire department that kind of keeps up on the equipment, the apparatus, the training. Mm-hmm. Been proud to be associated with them over all these years.
Is that a one-station department, or is it
one station?
Okay.
All volunteer, except we just this past year started paying a driver through the day because everybody works out of town, and we was too slow and sometimes not getting out during the day. We were relying on elderly firefighters in the 70s, and that just wasn't doing the job. So
okay. And are you still active member or administrative, or where are you at now?
I'm currently the assistant chief, trying to work my way down and out, but until we get some of the younger ones up and trained, I'm still in there helping to formulate them and teach them how to be an old firefighter. Okay,
good. And then in addition to serving as a member in Hancock, you've had a long-standing working commitment with Cumberland Valley Volunteer Firefighters Association too. Right. So tell a little bit about what they do and what their mission is, and I'm sure there's going to be some listeners that are not aware of Cumberland Valley. So here's a chance to throw a little love their way.
Okay. Cumberland Valley Volunteer Firemen Association was formed in 1901. It's well over 100 years old now. The original mission was to get mutual aid companies. Everyone had different threads in their hose back then, to try and get them all so they could couple together for mutual aid benefits. Fire prevention was another big motivation back then. Through the years, we've kind of headed towards. We formed a committee called Emergency Responder Safety Institute, ERSI, and that's where I've been most actively involved this past, 5 or 6 years. I am a past president of Cumberland Valley. But Responder Safety Institute is all about protecting responders on the highway. We've had an unfortunate incident in Halfway, Maryland, outside of Hagerstown, where a fire police, one of our members, was killed in an accident. He was directing traffic and got hit by a driver. About the same time, our director of training, Jack Sullivan, was up in Lyonsville, Pennsylvania, when that big incident happened. Most an incident where most firefighters and EMS personnel was injured at one time. Tragic accident. And both groups kind of started on their own, seeing what could be done about it. And back then, this is 15, 20 years ago, there wasn't anything being done. So somehow the two got together, and Jack joined up with Reminding Safety, and we had a summit in Hagerstown, and formed the Emergency Responder Safety Institute, a committee of Cumberland Valley. And from then, it's going from putting on training classes, developing best practices. We put these training classes on DVDs and sent them out free across the country. To now we have a online learning network, which has like 16, 17 modules. We add to it every year. Different aspects of being out on the highway and protecting yourself. The classes I teach, I'm also a federal highway certified instructor of traffic incident management, trainer program, and I refer to your situational awareness information in all the classes, because if you're not aware of your surroundings out on the highway, then you've got a big problem. You've got to watch your back, and that's what we at Cumberland Valley and Responder Safety do is teach you the best way to protect you from what we call the D drivers.
The D drivers.
The D drivers.
What does D mean?
It could be drunk, drugged, distracted, drowsy, or sometimes they're just plain dumb. We don't know how they got their driver's license, but we've all seen them out there.
All right, hold on. I got to write this down. Okay, so drunk. What else?
Drugged,
drowsy,
distracted, or just plain dumb.
Or dumb.
Yeah.
All right. I never heard it referred to as the D drivers.
Yeah, like we teach that in the TIM training, and I use it in my other presentations. We'll get to it in a little bit.
Okay.
But we do, and this Responder Safety, the online learning network, you can go to respondersafety.com and click on online learning network. And it's all free. You take each module is about 30, 40 minutes. It's quality products. It's nothing, not watching and listening, someone reading a PowerPoint to you. It's got actual videos in it. We work with Stonehouse Media, and they do a fantastic job for us. And it's all good stuff. And you take a little quiz at the end, and you can even print out a certificate if you want. If the organization wants to get secondary reporting, where you as training officer or a big department or something, you can get a report on who's actually doing the different modules and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been well received.
Good. This all hit home for you. And I want you to tell that story.
Okay.
What happened?
It did. I have my own D driver, and that's my daughter, Daniele. The morning of June the 21st, 2014, she was driving down a rural road, a good rural road. It's had lines in the center and all that, but it was a heavily used country road, heading into Hancock. She was living at that time out in the rural area in Pennsylvania, Fulton County, Pennsylvania, and for whatever reason, and I don't know, and maybe we'll never know until I meet her again later on, and that's a whole different story for a different day. The signs and talking to the medium and all that I'm 100% believer in all that. And since this has happened, before this happened, I wasn't sure what was out there after you passed away. I'm a person that kind of needs facts to prove it. Well, I have my facts now, and I know that you exist afterwards.
We're going to talk a little bit about that if you're willing to.
Sure.
All right, but we'll come back to it.
So that morning, Danielle was driving down the road, and something distracted her. She was driving probably a little bit too fast, which she usually did. I told her about that many times. But she was going around a fairly sharp kind of U-turn, and for whatever reason, she drifted across the center lines and into the other lane. And oncoming was another vehicle driven by an elderly lady, and she hit head on. No signs of hitting brakes, of swerving of anything. She just kept going over, and the other car tried to move over, but there was a bank there, and they couldn't move any farther. Danielle was killed instantly, and the elderly lady died in the hospital. Danielle would never intentionally hurt anybody else, including herself, but especially anybody else. So something distracted her, and I don't know what it is. There's several theories. Speeding a little bit could have been a contributing factor, but the center lines there had the berm strips, the rumble strips. So she should have felt that and did something, but she didn't. She could have been, lighting a cigarette or smoking. I told her about that, and she said, "Oh, Dad, smoking won't kill me." And, well, she may or may not be right. I don't know. She could have been doing something in the car as far as a radio or her cell phone. She could have been texting. I have her cell phone, and there's a couple of texts that have stopped in the middle of it. Now, if there'd be one, I'd say definitely she was texting. But since there was at least two, I don't know whether she stopped at some other time, stopped texting and went to something else. I don't know. Texting could definitely be one of the causes of the accident. Or talking on her cell phone. She had money because her future mother-in-law just given her money to buy a car part for her son. And I knew it was in the car because they had told me it was, and nobody had found it during the accident scene. I wasn't there. Fortunately, I guess I wasn't there. Our mutual aid company ran the call, but then they called us in for support. But I was actually in Myrtle Beach at the National Fallen Firefighters Conference, nbsp. Mm-hmm. So I actually got the call when I was in Myrtle Beach getting ready to leave there.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that we were together in Myrtle Beach?
Yes.
That we had breakfast?
Yes.
Yeah, that morning?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Right before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. And so I don't know, but the money wasn't found till I got home and then went up to see the car. And I searched. Well, I actually took all our personal belongings out of the car because it was totaled. But I searched all over. I finally found the money stuck underneath the gas pedal. So it was there. So whether it fell off the seat and she was reaching for it, I don't know. There's 50 possible distractions that could have happened. There could have been a medical issue, and maybe that's why she didn't react to going over. Mm-hmm. I don't know that she had any problems, but you never know. There are legitimate distractions. You can't keep your eyes open whenever you sneeze. So maybe she sneezed. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like I say, I don't know now. Maybe someday I will. It's a rural road. There could have been an animal or something jumped out and she swerved and missed it. I don't know what happened, but she was definitely distracted because she made no effort to avoid the accident. And that morning we lost our daughter.
Wow. So from that tragedy, you drew some inspiration.
Yes. I've put together a program. I couldn't get any sense out of Danielle's loss, what her mother and I have been going through. It's a tremendous, tremendous crisis loss that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And sadly, just in our little area of Hancock, Maryland, Walfordburg, Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, there's been 12 to 15 younger drivers died of some type of vehicle accident just in the last few years. And that's just a small, very small population, very small area. Hancock High School was the smallest, one of the smallest schools in the state of Maryland. So if it's that bad here, I can't imagine what it's like elsewhere. And I've got statistics on young drivers and distracted driving and the accidents that they cause and injuries and deaths. And I've got all kinds of stories, video stories from other places. Some of the local parents that I've talked to have given me the background on their child that was lost and how it's happened. And I've got all this formed into it's kind of direct, in your face type program that I've put together. I pretty much start out with who wants to die today, and then I ask, did you use your cell phone while you're driving here in any way, whether texting or talking on it. Even hands-free stuff is not ideal. So that's the only justification I can get out of Danielle's death is trying to spread this message, trying to, if I could prevent just one other young life being lost and one other set of parents not having to go through what we're going through now, then my stuff here will be worth it. Not losing Danielle, but at least something will be coming out of her death and keep her going.
Who's the audience for your program?
I actually can go two ways. I've dealt with younger drivers. I work with Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration, talking to new drivers. And I have another, next month I go up to Harrisburg and talk to a group of young drivers who's in like a driver safety competition. I'm going to be their keynote speaker there and spread this message to them.
Nice.
I was supposed to last month go up into Harrisburg area and talk to EVOC student driver trainers, but that got snowed out, so I didn't make that one. But I because it's not only young drivers, but older drivers, parents do it all the time, and they set the example for their children. They watch them as they grow up. Mom and dad's talking or texting while they're driving. It's okay, or eating or drinking, whatever it is. So I can go either young drivers or their parents, adult drivers. I've got it geared either way.
I was recently in the downtown of a big city, and I was walking, and I come up to a busy intersection with a traffic light, and I was waiting for the light to turn green so I could cross the street, but all the while then just watching the traffic go by, and I was, I guess I'd say stunned at how many of the cars that drove by, the drivers were heads down on their technology. Look, their eyes were not, and they're going, and they're going through an intersection,
right?
Because I'm standing there on the corner, and they're going through an intersection, and their eyes are not on the intersection. Be it a pedestrian walking across, or somebody doing a right turn, or somebody something in front of them, bicyclist. I was just.
Yeah.
And then I started counting, because I was seeing so many, and I don't know how many went by before I started counting. But I got up to like 14 before the light changed, and then I crossed the street, and I'm like, just in this little informal sample in the downtown of this one city, in the course of about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, 14 drivers were distracted, or they're looking down. I guess I cannot assume automatically that they were texting. Maybe they were reaching for something, or adjusting their car radio or whatever. Right. I don't want to put the assumption to it. Some of them I clearly could see their phones. Their hand on their phone was in clear view. I didn't even count the people who were talking, on their phone, holding their phone up to their ear talking. I was just looking at the ones whose eyeballs weren't on the roadway, and I thought, oh Lord, is this a big problem? And how they can think that there's no potential to the consequence of this, and I guess if you do it enough without a bad outcome, you start to get confident that somehow you're good at it. That other distracted drivers maybe aren't good at driving while heads down, but I'm good at it,
right.
Because look at me, I can do it. I haven't hit anything yet, and so what are some of the messages that you carry to your audience? First of all, before I get to the messages, how long is the program, or is there a varied length in the program?
Varied length. I've gone anywhere from 15 minutes to, I guess probably the longest has been an hour and a half, but I could go all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever the people would want.
Mm-hmm. And what are give me examples of some of the messages, if someone were to hire you to come in to speak at a conference, or to a teachers group, or to a whole school, what might they hear as the takeaways for the message that you're sharing?
I kind of start off with a little bit of personal stories, and then I get into some of the statistics. It's all that, to back up what I'm saying, I'm going to say. And then I use some more of the personal, like this happened, this can happen to you, it's happened to me, it's happened to other parents, their children. I do got a lot of that, and trying to drive it through and try to interact, can this be you? And pointing it to a student or whoever's in the audience, and try to interact with the audience as much as I can to drive it home that this can happen to you. Like you said, we all have this mentality. Oh, it's not going to happen to me. Danielle was that way, but it does happen to. It can happen to anybody, and it's happening more and more every day. And then some of the message of what you can do, and it's like. When you get in, throw the cell phone in the back seat, or if you got passengers with you, hand it to the passenger and let them deal with it, or just have it a no cell phone. You turn it off, and nothing is as important as driving. You've got to pay attention to what you're doing. That's a weapon you have control of going down the road 60, 70 miles an hour. That's priority number one. And if you do have it laying there and you get a text or a phone call, pull over. You got to stop before you answer it. Stop in someplace safe, because there's a lot of D drivers out there, and you pull along the side of the road. You might be doing things right, but the person coming at you might be distracted in some way, and that's how police officers and firefighters and everybody gets hit and killed on the interstates. Well, not the heavy interstates, it can be anything. So that's kind of it. Some how-tos at the end to protect yourself, and then maybe some interaction, questions and answers. See if anybody else has had any good experiences, something that worked for them. So that's kind of the gist, and I can direct it however the host might want to covered. Mm-hmm. Like if it's high school, I deal more with my daughter and some of the other specific cases that I know of. Where kids have died in traffic accidents, and one kid from Hancock was driving home, and he dropped his cell phone, and he reached down to get it and ran off and we know this because the passengers in the car lived, and they told us what happened. Driver passed away from the accident, struck a tree. So there's a lot of instances like that. I try to make it as personal to the younger drivers as possible. And then for the adults, it's kind of like, look, you're setting an example. You're responsible for teaching your kids and everybody in your seat, and you're responsible for their safety. So put the phone down. Nothing is important as getting you and your passengers safely to wherever you need to go. That's kind of the message, and some of the maybe how-tos, best practices. I used to work for a trucking company, and there's mental, visual, and a combination as far as distractions. And the trucking company always taught their drivers to kind of keep their eyes in motion, go from mirror to front, to side mirrors every few seconds or once in a while, because there's cases where you just driving down the interstate, you kind of don't know where you're at. I thought I already passed this, or have I passed that, or something like that happens. So you've got to be mentally thinking about driving too, because you'd be thinking about 100 other things, and mm-hmm. we're multitaskers now, but we don't do it as well as what we think we can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if somebody wanted to learn either more about what you're doing, or if they wanted to follow up with you with a question, or maybe they're even interested in having to host you to share your message with their group, and I know you're in Maryland, but you told me that your vision is to share this message on a bigger scale. I think, as if I can quote you, you said, "I'd like to be a modified Rich Gasaway," and by modified,
right?
But you said, "I don't think my wife would enjoy me being gone as often as you're gone." No,
I couldn't. She's still in counseling, all that. So yeah. She's gotten a lot better, but I still couldn't leave her for days and days at a time. Yeah. Every night it'd be bad. So the modified me means that Greg is willing to take this message to venues throughout the United States and Canada and share this powerful message of the impact of
distracted driving. I mean, he'd preached it for years and then lived it, and now has an incredible story that is buttressed by a very personal tragedy that his family has had to endure and try to find peace with. And if they wanted to find you, where would they find you?
The best thing would be the email, and that's Yost, Gyost 73 at hotmail.com. I check email fairly often. I do have a website, but it's currently down. I'm changing hosts to make it more user-friendly. So it's not running right now, but hopefully we'll back up soon.
Okay, good. Thank you. We're going to...
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I talked about teaching the responder safety, and I still do that, teaching the responders on the highway, the fire departments. But during this research for distracted driving, I came across some information that really troubled me. Did you know in 2013 there was 180 accidents in the state of California caused by distracted drivers of emergency vehicles? And that was up from 2012, and I don't have the exact numbers for 2014, 15 yet, but it's getting to be a problem for us driving the fire trucks, ambulances, police cars. Technology has gotten to be so much. We've got computers in the vehicles now, and we've got to respond to them. And this is mostly a problem in maybe volunteer rural areas who go driver only. Then the driver's got to do it all. But take a minute before you leave to know exactly where you're going, so you don't have to be on your GPS or on your phone getting Google Maps up. Or if you've got the computers, do whatever you have to do. Tell the dispatch, hey, I'm driver only. I won't be talking on the radio unless it's an emergency. Mm-hmm. You can give me messages, but stuff like that. A lot of companies don't even have policies on whether using cell phones and when they're operating an apparatus or not. So this is a problem, and I've got several articles on this type of and it's spreading. It's getting worse instead of better. And there's all kinds of YouTube videos out there of fire truck and ambulance drivers texting or doing their video or taking videos or doing something other than driving the apparatus, and that's causing a lot of problems. So I've also incorporated that into my responder safety on the highway message.
That would be for the audience of first responders. So there's a message there for first responders too, if they wanted to have you carry that message to them in a program. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to close this interview. I'm going to ask the listeners if they'll stick around, because we're going to record another interview, because you said some things about being a believer, and I think there's a story there that I want to hear, and I'm going to give him a chance to tell a story, and I'm going to record it, and I'm going to play it right after this one, and I hope you'll stick around and hear that story. So thank you, Greg, for sharing the passion and the message about distracted driving here on the podcast and with the live audiences.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Greg Yost, for the courage to share the details of your tragic loss and for creating a program to help reduce the impact of distracted driving. You heard me say that during my interview with Greg that he made a spiritual reference about his daughter Daniele. Following this feature segment interview, I recorded a bonus segment to allow Greg the opportunity to tell us more about that. If you're interested in hearing that, stick around to the end of the podcast, and I'm going to play it at the end of the episode. If you've experienced or witnessed a near miss and would like to have a platform to share your lessons learned with others, please contact me by visiting the SAMatters.com website and clicking on the Contact Us link on the top of the home page. Think about it for a moment. The lessons learned from your near-miss events could save the life of another responder. If you want to share your experiences, contact me. If you haven't subscribed yet to the SA Matters podcast, please consider taking a moment to go over to iTunes or Stitcher Radio. And while you're there, please consider leaving some feedback on the show. And if you like it, give it a 5-star review. This is really important because it inspires me to work harder for you, and it helps others to find the show. In case you haven't heard, I recently released the third book in the Situational Awareness Matters series. This book contains critical lessons on improving situational awareness and high-risk decision-making. If you want a copy, you can buy it at samatters.com website or through amazon.com. If you know of a business that might be interested in supporting the Situational Awareness Matters mission with a sponsorship, I'm seeking a few select sponsors to help offset the cost of running the website, social media, podcast, YouTube channel, monthly newsletter, and all the other free content. The website's enjoyed over 1 million visits, and those visitors have downloaded over 4 million pages of content. We post new blog articles every Friday. Our Situational Awareness Matters newsletter is distributed to thousands of first responders monthly. The podcast that you're listening to has new episodes that come out every Tuesday, and it has been downloaded over 85,000 times. So if you know of a business that would like to get their message in front of our visitors, subscribers, and supporters, ask them to contact me through the samatters.com website. A huge thank you to Midwest Fire for renewing your commitment to our mission and signing on to sponsor this podcast now for the second year in a row. If you're not a member of the SA Matters community of learners, please consider joining. There are over 5,000 members connected here on SA Matters, sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness, how to make better decisions under stress, and how to train members on how to be critical thinkers and resilient problem solvers. Membership is free, and when you sign up, I'll send you a special report that I've created for the new members called 25 Best Practices for Improving First Responder Safety. So if you're not a member yet, head over to the SA Matters website, click on the red box on the right side of the homepage that says Free Membership. If you want to get connected with me on social media, on Twitter you can follow @Rich Gasaway or @SA Matters. The SA Matters Twitter community is approaching 17,000 followers of our mission, and for that, I say thank you very much. You can also get connected on Facebook by joining our private Facebook page. It's free. To do that, go to facebook.com/groups/SA Matters. There's an enticement to join the private Facebook group. I have a coupon code in there for 50% off the new book. That'll save you $20. On LinkedIn, you can also find me by searching Rich Gasaway. Well, that's it. Episode 99 is complete, or I should say near complete. There's going to be a bonus content here at the end with Greg Yost's second interview. Thank you again to our podcast sponsor, Midwest Fire. And thank you to all the live event hosts. And thank you to our listeners for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. Be safe out there. And may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit samatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.
Thanks for hanging out with us to the end. This is the first time I've ever thrown any bonus content on the end of a podcast. So if you liked it or didn't like it, send me some feedback and I'd appreciate it. I'm not going to create any delays here. Let's jump right into the second interview with Greg Yost. So Greg, we were doing an interview about your passion for distracted driving and teaching young drivers, adult drivers, first responders about the dangers of distracted driving, and you have this incredible first-hand experience of the loss of your daughter Daniele. And during that interview, you had said some things about your beliefs and maybe even a shift in your beliefs since that tragedy. And I want to dedicate this portion of the interview to having that discussion. So you pick the story up where you think it's going to make sense to maybe somebody who didn't even hear the first part. So tell maybe a little bit of the backstory, and then we haven't talked off the mic here, so I'm hearing it for the first time too, and I'm very intrigued by what you'd said to me, so I want to learn more. So go ahead and share that.
Okay. June the 21st, 2014. My wife and I lost our daughter Danielle. She was 28 years old in a car accident. She was distracted by something, and I don't know what until I meet her again. And I am positive I will meet her again. Now let me back up a little bit. Before that day, I won't say I was a really religious person. I had hoped there was something after death, because I sure didn't want that to be the end. And I read and heard and all that. But I'm a person who needs kind of facts to prove it to me. Till I see something factual that can't be denied, then I'm questioning it. Mm-hmm. Well, after that day, and as soon as that was a Saturday, Sunday, Monday the 23rd, at our house, the first sign showed up. And what that was is, in front of the house, Danielle 2 years ago had planted some petunias and stuff for her mom, and they never really grew. I mowed them off all the time, and we never really thought about it. Well, June the 23rd, 2014, one flower with a pink bloom showed up. And I have 50 people will verify this, because all the people was in and out of our house. And me, like a dummy, I saw it. I didn't think anything about it. But somebody came in and told my wife, Mary Ann, said, "Oh, you got a flower right there." And she was baffled. It's and I said, "Oh yeah, I saw that right there. It's right there where you used to plant flowers." Well, she naturally ran out right away. And she was sitting with that flower quite often in the next few days, as it grew to 2, 3 blooms out of this one plant, till eventually it was probably 2 feet wide. I had a fence around it, a heart-shaped fence around it, 2 feet, probably about a foot by 2 feet, so nothing would get into it and protect it. And that's how it grew all summer long, from nothing, from one overnight it showed up till it grew to that. I have pictures, so I can that proves it. And all the people was in and out of our house, and I had it on Facebook. Danielle's flowers growing. Well, that October we moved. We moved into West Virginia. There was too many memories in Hancock. We had to move out, not too far away, but just enough. We replanted those seedlings. We took them several different ways. I just put some in dirt and kept watering it over the winter inside. We had heard you take some seeds and put them in an envelope and keep them in a dry place in a refrigerator. We did all that. We planted them in pots and set them outside at our house in West Virginia. The only ones that grew were the ones that I kept in the dirt and just watered all winter long. They grew again, and I had pictures. This past summer, we had 6 pots of flowers on the back, all from that one that started on June the 23rd, 2014. So naturally, we've done that again this year. So hopefully they'll grow again next year. But if they don't, we've already gotten our sign. But there's so many other signs that Danielle has sent us, and some of them you can question. Oh, that's a coincidence or that. But no, some of them are definitely not questionable. I went out to get the mail one day, and I was getting it, and there was feathers started falling around me. And I looked up, and there was a bunch of feathers coming down at me. And there was no birds, no collision, no trees around, no birds. I didn't see anything in the sky, but these feathers coming down at me. And me, again, like a dummy, didn't really think anything about it. Walked in and said, "Man, I just got attacked by a bunch of feathers right there." Well, my wife was up off the couch and ran out there, and we were on our knees picking up these feathers. We have them in a little heart-shaped container in this little area where we memorialized Danielle at. But I swear to God, and whatever you believe, there was nothing except these feathers was coming down. And that's one of the signs they say you get. And that's just 2 of many that Danielle has sent us. over this time. We finally went to a medium, and I don't know what your beliefs are on medium. I had always leaned towards believing them, wanted to anyway. But again, you don't know whether what you watch on TV, you don't know whether it's fact or made up or all that. Well, I can 100% sit here and swear it's true. This medium, Shelley Fry, brought Danielle's attitude, sense of humor, everything exactly as Danielle would have said as she was being there. She said some things that absolutely there's no way she would know what to say. It was only between Mary and I and Danielle. So I am here to say yes, 100% it is truthful. We referred another parent in our area, and she just this past weekend went to Shelley, and she had the exact same thing. She said some things that she couldn't have known anywhere else about this girl. So yeah, it is true. It's helped a lot. We definitely want to go back to Shelley. There's something out there. I guarantee it. I don't know what it is, and I'm still not here to say what they're teaching in religion is accurate. But there is definitely something out there. It's definitely a very nice place, like heaven. So the teachings in the Bible and all that could very well be accurate. It kind of leads me to believe that. Danielle was very happy. She even said, she told her mom through Shelley, said, you can eat whatever you want here and not gain weight. And Danielle was always one concerned, her mom too, concerned about her weight. And that was something that Danielle had said to her mom. Said, wouldn't it be nice, said it many times, if we could just eat whatever you wanted and not worry about gaining weight. That's one of the things she said through Shelley. And that's Danielle. And there's no way she would, she could have researched, I guess, on the internet, found our names and found newspaper articles on the accident and put two and two together and maybe got that part right, which she did. But she couldn't have researched some of this other stuff. So, yeah, I 100% am a believer. The signs that Danielle has I hope to eventually write a book about this. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that's another motivational type thing. I also talk about in what we talked about the last interview with some of the presentations. So.
Through the medium, did you try to find out what happened that night?
A little bit. When we go back, we want to explore a little bit more. She said she takes responsibility, which is Danielle never took responsibility for anything. If something went wrong, it's always somebody else's fault. But she didn't take total responsibility. So, okay, this is Danielle. She was foggy. So I don't know whether that means she wasn't thinking about what she was supposed to have been doing, or she had some, an illness or something. They didn't find anything in her system, so I don't think that was part of what she was talking about. So I think it's either she wasn't paying attention, mm-hmm. She was always called her flighty, or she had some kind of issue that she wasn't sick or something. I don't know. But we'll explore that more later on. But we'll find out, because one of the things her mom asked her was, will we see her in the future? Because that's one of she's mostly concerned about is she okay? Will we see her in the future? And Danielle said, yeah. Said, you're not going to get rid of me that easy. We will meet again, but it's a long ways away.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing experience.
Wow. Yeah, that is. I've never gone to a medium, although I've heard similar stories like yours from others who have, and it perhaps is for those who have some doubts about something is beyond this worldly life. That's an example. It's the proof you needed.
Yes, definitely.
And has given you probably a level of hope for what is beyond this earthly life that we hopefully enjoy and have something to look forward to.
Yep, definitely. It's out there. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that as well.
Sure. Thank you.